This is News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. It's one of the worst storms to ever hit Florida. That's what meteorologists are saying about Hurricane Milton ahead of landfall.
And we're already starting to see its impacts in the form of tornadoes and heavy winds. Our chief meteorologist, Alex Harrington, is live on UW-Madison's campus at one of the top institutions for tropical weather information. Alex, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Brady. Good afternoon, Braden. Yes, I am at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies, or CIMS. These are some of the renowned experts in hurricane research. And what you have here behind me, we're looking at satellite imagery and radar imagery of Milton right now with the tools here at CIMS. And this is just one of many tools as Milton makes its way towards Florida. Coming up in Maine Weather, we're going to talk to one of the lead researchers on the latest with Milton, and then you'll definitely want to tune in at our 5 and 6 o'clock newscast as we dig even deeper into hurricane science. Now, I know Wisconsin, we all care about our folks here in Florida, but let's take a look at our overall forecast. Starting off with Milton right now, a strong Category 3 storm with winds right now at 120 miles per hour. They've been going down some because Milton has been encountering dry air and strong winds higher up. That's not favorable for hurricanes to maintain their strength, but still a very strong hurricane, and we'll be watching that storm surge, where that storm surge peaks over the course of the next couple hours going into the evening. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. The three things you got to get out of our forecast: warm through Friday, showers on Sunday with a cold front, a series of cold fronts, and that cold air coming in is going to bring widespread frost to southern Wisconsin through the early portion of next week. Let's plan our evening. Nothing stormy at all about our forecast. 6 o'clock, sunny skies, temperatures at 64. 8 o'clock will be at 57. Blaze will be here doing the 10 o'clock newscast with temperatures right around 53 degrees, and overnight low temperatures tonight across all of southern Wisconsin. Mid to upper 40s from Madison and points towards the south, north, up towards Juneau and Adams County. Might see some temperatures still in the upper 30s with a little bit of that patchy frost. But coming up in Maine Weather, we're going to dig deep into Hurricane Milton with researchers here at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies. Reporting from CIMS, I'm Alex Harrington, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Alex. We'll check back in again soon. Oh, to the race for the White House now. Minnesota's First Lady Gwen Walz visited Dane County today on behalf of the Harris campaign.
Our Maddie Heimsch brings us more from her visit and a look at her role in the campaign.
Whether it's the First Lady of Minnesota, Wisconsin, or the United States, the spouse of a major official serves a public but largely undefined role. That leaves First Ladies like Gwen Walz to define the position for themselves. Taking the podium in Wisconsin today, she mirrored several of the Minnesota governor's routine talking points. A, quote, opportunity economy for the middle class, reproductive rights, and affordable health care. Also, as expected, she galvanized voters to take action with only 27 days until the election.
And it wasn't that many weeks ago when I was knocking on doors and making phone calls in my home state of Minnesota, doing just what you're doing. And then Tim got a different call from Vice President Harris. Yep.
Minnesota's First Lady has campaigned in Wisconsin 6 times since her husband was selected as the Democratic VP pick. In stark contrast, Republican VP nominee J.D. Vance's wife, Usha, has taken a different approach to the loosely outlined role. She has yet to deliver public remarks since the Republican National Convention in July. Reporting in Beloit, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Maddie, thank you. On News 3 Now at 6, we'll hear from an expert on the undefined role of First Ladies in political campaigns.
On the other side of Beloit, Congressman Brian Stile was hitting the pavement to turn out Republican voters.
That's right. Political reporter Will Keneally caught up with him and has more. Hey, Will.
Well, Beloit, Wisconsin represents an interesting part of the state. It's traditionally a Democratic base, but it's also a relatively new part of incumbent Brian Stile's congressional district. Beloit used to be in the same district as Madison. So he caught up with Stile along the trail as he spoke with voters. Now, we asked him about the stakes of this election.
What I'm hearing from voters today is what I hear time and again, and it's how do we get our country back on track and address the fact that so many families can't afford the things that they need, and what do we need to do to secure the U.S.-Mexico border?
Now, the Janesville Republican is running for his 4th term in office, facing Democratic challenger Peter Barca. Now, I've also reached out to the Barca campaign and expect to take you along the trail with him soon as well. Now, the district is one of Wisconsin's more competitive congressional seats, but it's rated likely Republican by the 2 major organizations that track these House races.
Thanks, Will. Well, a new Quinnipiac poll of so-called blue wall states shows the race for the White House is essentially tied in Wisconsin. A poll of likely voters shows Trump leading Harris 48 to 46, with other candidates getting 2%. That has a margin of error of plus or minus 3 percentage points. Back in September, Quinnipiac also had the race essentially tied here.
Our state's now part of an effort to make TikTok comply with an investigation into its effects on kids' mental health. Attorney General Josh Kaul joined a bipartisan coalition of 22 AGs urging a court in Tennessee to enforce its order that requires a social media platform to preserve and produce relevant evidence for this investigation. That investigation began in 2022 and is separate from the lawsuit 14 states filed yesterday, alleging TikTok's creators designed the app to be addictive.
A man is dead and a woman is hurt after a crash in the village of Windsor. At 11:20 Tuesday morning, DeForest Fire and EMS responded to a crash at the intersection of Country Highways V and C. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says a pickup truck hit a Toyota that ran through a stop sign. First responders got to a 63-year-old man out of the Toyota, but despite life-saving efforts, he did die on the scene. The pickup truck's driver, a 47-year-old woman, was taken to the hospital. She is expected to live. The name of the man has not yet been released.
A woman suspected of stabbing a man is fighting for her life after a Walworth County Sheriff's deputy shot her. At 3:45 Monday afternoon, law enforcement responded to East Troy after a man called saying a woman attacked him with a razor blade. When officers arrived, they found the man injured and saw the woman exit a home with a knife. They asked her to drop it, and then she allegedly advanced toward them, and a deputy shot her. She's now in the hospital and is facing 3 charges, including felony intimidation of a victim. The sheriff's deputy who shot her is on administrative leave. Back to coverage of Hurricane Milton. What's expected to be a catastrophic event may require all hands on deck from all corners of the country.
Yeah, that's right. As Armand Rahman found, that includes utility crews from right here in Wisconsin.
This Road Ranger parking lot in South Beloit was full with about 23 Wisconsin utility trucks this morning before the sun even rose, because they rose to answer the call to drive down to Florida to help with anticipated damage from Hurricane Milton.
Wheels went up within 24 hours after the Florida Municipal Electric Association asked municipal electric utilities of Wisconsin to organize mutual aid crews. 47 journeymen, linemen, and apprentice line workers are bringing a fleet of bucket trucks and other equipment to help restore power wherever they can after the storm hits. Hurricane Helene knocked out electricity for hundreds of thousands of people across Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, and Milton is expected to be even bigger.
We're going to do homes, make sure that key customers like hospitals and treatment plants are up and running over there too, and then making sure that we get all their main feeders going and to help with the secondary.
The fleet from Wisconsin plans to get to Kissimmee, Florida midday Thursday. Organizers say they're all expecting the unexpected.
We tell everybody expect for 2 weeks. Maybe more, maybe less.
This isn't the first time Wisconsin utilities drove down to Florida to help with hurricane damage. They originally went in 2022 after Hurricane Ian. Reporting in South Beloit, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Armand. Later on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs answers your plant questions. You can send them to us at tips@channel3000.com. We'd love to hear from you, and this is your chance to be answered live at 4. Well, still ahead on Live at 4, we check back in with First Warn meteorologist Alex Harrington.
He'll bring us the latest developments about Hurricane Milton from the experts down on campus.
Donate blood at Stoughton Health's upcoming blood drive on October 18th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event will be hosted at our Community Health and Wellness Center. Sign up online at bloodcenter.org.
Sometimes the smallest cracks can cause the biggest chills, and something sinister is lurking in the shadows.
What was that?
To survive, they must seal their fate.
It's not working.
With Feldco.
50% off Windows ends soon. Come now.
This fall, watch out for The Draft.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
The kindness, the efficiency, the respect was amazing.
From start to finish, they will take care of you.
Everybody is just so kind and everybody's so cheerful. I just never worked with a company where everybody seems to get along and they're all happy to be working for Cardinal.
Cardinal is the place to go for any type of work that you need done around your home.
I never hesitate with family, friends, neighbors to recommend Cardinal, and nobody has come back to me and said I was wrong.
These Baldwin ads are nasty.
I can't stand them.
She never tells the truth. Now she says Eric Hovde wants to raise the retirement age.
That's malarkey.
I saw in the news Social Security will be going bankrupt in 8 years.
Are you kidding? We need Social Security.
You're surprised? Washington spends money like crazy.
And Baldwin supports all of it.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
You better get a job.
You get a job.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Compare that to Trump. He fights for himself and his billionaire friends. He intends to enact a national sales tax, the Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle-class families by $4,000 a year. Instead of a tax hike, we will pass a middle-class tax cut that will benefit more than 100 million Americans.
MedPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Bigger isn't always better. Stoughton Health offers in-house MRI in a safe, inviting environment with convenient scheduling, friendly staff, and easy parking. Experience why patients are proud to say, "This is my hospital."
Welcome back. You are taking a live look at the southern Gulf coast of Florida. It looks pretty ominous there right now.
Oh my gosh, thoughts with everyone who's there right now. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine how scared people must be.
Yeah, and we are expecting the worst. That's what a lot of meteorologists all over the country have predicted. Alex, has anything changed since the last time we spoke with you?
Brady and Braden, Hurricane Milton has weakened some, and we've been talking about that for a couple of days, that as Milton approaches the coast that we could see some weakening. And I thought earlier this week when Milton was starting to form in the southern Gulf, we need to talk to our hurricane experts, and you don't have to go all the way to Florida or Washington, D.C. for hurricane expertise. You can do that right here in Madison, Wisconsin. We have Sarah Griffin, who is one of the researchers here at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies, or SIMS. And Sarah, tell us about some of the tools that we're seeing here that you're using to track Milton.
All right, well, just starting off, what your viewers may not know is that Wisconsin is the birthplace of satellite meteorology. So the first weather satellites that ever existed were designed here, right at the university, from a professor in our department and a professor in the engineering department. So all of these images that you see right here, they all started here. So what we're looking at here, this is what is known as visual imagery. So this is if you happen to be in space and you were actually looking down on Milton, this is what you would see. And what we're seeing with Milton, some things that we can pick out here is, if we look at all these cauliflower clouds off the now east coast of Florida, those are what we call overshooting tops. And pretty much what that is there is this updraft that is shooting up from the surface pretty much all the way to the top, and that is where we're getting the strongest and most severe storm. So if you've been seeing stuff about the tornadoes that are happening in Florida, I've seen some pictures from a colleague down in Miami. So Miami, Milton is up here, Miami is way down here. No, he's like, I went storm chasing in my backyard. So that is what we can see from satellites, and satellites give us pretty pictures. They can show us some of the features, but one thing that we do here and that we're very well known for is that we take that satellite data and we can manipulate that satellite data into something that you can't see with the visible eye. So if we go down and look at this screen, we run a website here at SIMS. You can just Google SIMS tropical cyclones, it'll take you right to the website. And one thing we have is this TC track. And so here's the track of the previous track of Milton, and then there's the future, and we can put all of this satellite imagery on top. So this is an infrared imagery. This is something that we can use to view Milton both day and night. If you were to look at visual imagery in the middle of the night, it's going to be black. You can't see anything. So a lot of our products use infrared imagery. But we have our image of Milton here, and we can overlay. I'm going to take some stuff off just because it's kind of busy. Here's Milton, and we can overlay something like wind shear. So if you've been seeing a lot of stuff about Milton weakening, it's because Milton is in an area of very strong wind shear. And that's what we can depict with these images. So over here, we have Milton is underneath this area of red image, and that is very unfavorable for TC development, very unfavorable for maintaining TC intensity, and that's one reason why we are seeing Milton weaken, is it's in this area of very high wind shear. It's also why Milton's probably been a prolific tornado producer, because the winds aloft are going a different direction than the winds at the surface.
Another question for you, too, while we're looking at the wind shear, and even though the intensity of Milton has come down, what concerns you the most right now about Milton as it still has yet to make landfall?
Oh, the water always concerns me. Pretty much when it comes to any hurricane, yes, the wind is deadly, but water is the #1 killer, either storm surge or, as we saw with Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago, the rainfall. So while Milton is weakening, I like to quote Frozen here, water has memory. Thank you, Olaf. And so we say Milton is weakening, it's a Category 3, but the water still has that energy from when it was a Category 4 or Category 5. So even though it is weakening, that water still maintains that energy, and that's still going to be pushed on shore. So weakening is only in terms of the wind speed. It has nothing to do with the water. It has nothing to do with the rainfall. Milton's still going to be a prolific rainmaker, not like what we saw with Helene, but those are still main threats that we still have to worry about.
I appreciate you telling us here just some of the tools that you have here at your disposal at SIMS. And coming up at 5, we're going to be here at SIMS again. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into hurricane science with Sarah to talk about West Coast hurricanes and are West Coast hurricane landfalls increasing or decreasing? So you definitely want to tune in for the 5 o'clock newscast for that. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'm going to do our weather here. We don't have a hurricane in Wisconsin. We have beautiful weather here in Wisconsin. And again, I can use my remote technologies from SIMS here to say it will be warm through the end of the week. Showers on Sunday with a cold front coming through. And we have frosty conditions in the forecast as we head out into early next week. Let's plan the evening together. Beautiful. Again, southern Wisconsin. Temperatures in the 60s, falling into the 50s. Blaze will be here at 10 o'clock tonight. Probably pretty close to when Milton will be likely making landfall, or shortly after that. Overnight temperatures coolest to the north, maybe a little patchy frost up towards Juneau and Adams counties. The frost that we've been seeing these past couple mornings, a little bit lesser of a chance tonight as warm air continues to move in to southern Wisconsin. Nope, not a misprint. Mid-70s, maybe some upper 70s on Thursday. And then we fast forward here with cold fronts coming through over the course of the weekend after a high of 81 Friday. A little cooler on Saturday, but that cold front on Sunday will mean some business. Some of the coldest air that we have not seen since last spring, with falling temperatures and a few showers. And I really want to emphasize, I have some of my farmer friends that have been reaching out, and those that also garden. They want to know, when are we going to have that hard freeze or widespread frost here in southern Wisconsin? I'm pretty confident early next week, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, maybe again Wednesday night, seeing widespread frost across southern Wisconsin. We're going to be live here during our 4, 5, and 6 o'clock newscast, continuing to get the latest expertise on Hurricane Milton. But back to you in the studio, Alex Harrington, News 3 Now.
Alex, thank you. A great expertise right here on campus. Well, we're expecting to hear from President Biden shortly. Top White House officials have briefed him and the vice president on preparations for Milton. The administration is bracing for Milton to be the storm of a lifetime with potentially unprecedented scale of damage. The White House is also dealing with a surge of misinformation following Hurricane Helene, some coming from Donald Trump himself. Last week, the former president claimed Vice President Harris spent all of FEMA's money on housing for migrants who came to the U.S. illegally. Before the briefing, the president addressed some of those comments.
It's got to stop. Moments like this, there are no red or blue states. There's one United States of America where neighbors are helping neighbors. Volunteers and first responders are risking everything, including their own lives, to help their fellow Americans.
And we will bring you President Biden's remarks live as soon as he starts speaking here.
It is true FEMA's facing a resource shortage, but the agency says it has enough employees to take on the response. Part of FEMA's website now addresses untrue information about its response to Helene. FEMA's administrator says the web of disinformation about her agency's response to Helene is absolutely the worst I've ever seen.
And all of this as hospitals across the nation struggle to conserve IV fluids after Hurricane Helene made landfall less than 2 weeks ago. A North Carolina manufacturing facility that produces 60% of IV fluids and dialysis solutions in the U.S. had to temporarily close. On Monday, the CEO of the American Hospital Association said the Biden administration needs to address this issue and that the FDA should declare a shortage.
In other news, U.S. government is considering breaking up one of the world's largest monopolies. The DOJ says it might recommend separating Google's search business from Android, Chrome, and the Google Play App Store. The department says this would prevent Google from using its search features to advance its products over rivals. Google says the government's plan would make the customer experience worse and undermine privacy.
And the FBI says it's thwarted a planned Election Day terror attack targeting large crowds. Agents arrested a 27-year-old man they say tried to buy AK-47s and ammo. The FBI found ISIS propaganda on his phone and say he funneled money into that terrorist group online. The suspect first entered the U.S. in 2021 on a special immigrant visa. Those go to people who worked with U.S. forces as translators or interpreters in Afghanistan. The suspect allegedly worked with a juvenile co-conspirator and said both plan to die on Election Day.
Well, in some lighter news, Braden, do you have your Halloween costume picked out yet?
We're going as co-anchors.
That's
remember?
true. Okay, I'm right. Well, we're dressed like it.
Easy.
Easy peasy. We're coming to get some candy near you.
Maybe we could put like name tags or something?
Yeah,
co-anchor.
Okay. Co-anchor. There we go. Well, if you're looking for a priceless costume for a bargain, well, we have some advice for you next in the 608.
Welcome to Oakmont Senior Community in Verona. Active seniors 55 plus will enjoy our new luxury apartments, professionally managed by award-winning Attic Angel. Call Demery today for a tour and reserve your place at Oakmont.
I'm working harder than ever just to pay the bills and provide for my family. But here's what Kamala Harris thought my money should go to instead. Job training for illegal immigrants even after they commit crimes in America. Hotel rooms for illegal immigrants while our vets sleep on the street. Sex changes for illegal immigrants out of my pocket. Seriously, have these people lost their mind? Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Insurance costs going up? Erie Insurance has great coverages, rates, and claim service. And your rates won't increase because of celebrity advertising campaigns or sports stadium sponsorships. Call Affordable Insurance Solutions for your auto, home, or business quote and see what Erie Insurance could do for you.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Join us at the Madison Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Don't miss your chance to visit the area's top newly constructed homes filled with the latest trends and technology. Go to MadisonFallParadeOfHomes.com and purchase your tickets today.
With Sweeto Metal Roofing, you get quality metal roofs installed by the best in the business. A metal roof means no fading, no storm repairs, true sustainability, and lower energy bills.
Sweeto Metal Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Here's the secret worth sharing. Robertson, Wisconsin's aesthetic leader, has nurses that specialize in custom treatment plans. Always natural, never overfilled. Time to learn how aging is different at Robertson.
Get an 11% rebate on everything now at Menards. Find your style and light up your home with Patriot Lighting. Right now, get $15 instant savings on a single qualifying purchase of $100 or more on indoor lighting and ceiling fans. Sylvania white filament LED light bulbs are an attractive option for any room. They look great off or on. Right now, pick up a 2-pack for just $8.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Welcome to Oakmont Senior Community in Verona. Active seniors 55 plus will enjoy our new luxury apartments, professionally managed by award-winning Attic Angel. Call Demery today for a tour and reserve your place at Oakmont.
Well, if you don't want to dress like us for Halloween, there are other options. In the 608, we're learning about some other costume trends this Halloween and how to find them on a budget.
That's right. Josh Sprider is helping us get inspired for spooky season on Madison's East Side.
We're going full-on Beetlejuice in the 608 as we're giving you some inspiration for Halloween right here at Goodwill on Madison's East Side. Michelle Harris is going to help us do just that, and it looks like it's raining cats and dogs, Michelle.
Yeah, my team knows I love a good pun, so they put me in the cats and dogs costume, and Goodwill's a perfect place to pick up your costume, one of a kind.
I love that, and that's what's so cool is one of a kind because you can get really creative with these.
Oh yeah, you just walk down the aisle and you find some pattern that sparks an interest, and then you go with it.
You know, and some can be a little bit more individualized. Some you can even make a family costume out of it.
Yes, sometimes people bring their whole families down and their animals, and they go down the aisle and they pick out a costume. It's a great budget-friendly option for people.
You know, you're seeing a little bit more with the dog costumes lately. Is that kind of in?
Oh yeah, people love to dress up their animals for Halloween as well as all year long.
And I love you guys are helping us make it happen right here at Goodwill. You're making it nice and easy, and I think that's what's so beautiful about it is you're trying to, you know, let that stress out for families.
Yeah, I think not only is it a budget-friendly option, but also it's sustainable so that people can reuse costumes, and it's a great for the environment, but we also do a lot of good in the community. So every time somebody donates to Goodwill or purchases something at Goodwill, that money goes back into the community. We have a large supported employment program, so we help over 80 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities with job training and education. We have apartments for people with chronic mental illness. So again, people are helping people with stable housing, and so it's just a really good thing to do.
I love that positive impact. All right, what advice do you have for folks that are trying to find those last-minute Halloween costumes?
Well, definitely get in here fast because, you know, you want to have the first choice of what's available, and we, you know, all year long you can come in and pick out your Halloween costume because you shop right off the rack and find that one-of-a-kind item.
Awesome. Well, Michelle, thank you guys so much. Looking good over there. All the great costumes here in the 608. Again, if you are looking for some inspiration, Goodwill's the place to be right here in South Central Wisconsin. More details up on channel3000.com. In the 608, I'm Josh Sprider, News 3 Now.
You know, if you say Beetle Josh 3 times, he appears. Beetle Josh,
Beetle Josh. That was really great, Brady. I love that.
We both kind of jumped when we saw him appear.
Yeah, that was a jump for sure. Jump scare a little bit. Well, later on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs is answering your plant questions. You can send them in right now at tips@channel3000.com for a chance to be answered live here on Live at 4.
And up next on Live at 4, more Hurricane Milton coverage.
How the Wisconsin Red Cross is preparing to help people in Florida. That's coming up when we're back.
Follow the fall colors to the Oakwood Fruit Farm just east of Richland Center. Over 20 varieties of your favorite apples to choose from. We grow and handpick the very best for you. A tradition we've kept in our family farm since 1904. Your family will love our delicious treats. Fresh apple cider, caramel apples, homemade pastries, including our legendary apple cider donuts. You'll want to make Oakwood Fruit Farm part of your fall traditions. Come to the Oakwood Fruit Farm. Visit oakwoodfruitfarm.com.
My name is Bill. I am retired. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I live here in Wisconsin. I am not a political person, but Eric Hovde doesn't understand how important Social Security and Medicare are around here. I'm on Social Security, and Hovde said he absolutely supported cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Imagine working longer, paying into the system, and then poof, you're paying your bills with less. He knows it. Cutting Social Security and Medicare will cost us. He just doesn't care.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this message.
100 Republicans who worked in national security for Presidents Reagan, both Bushes, and for President Trump, now endorsing Harris for president. She came up as a prosecutor, an attorney general, into the Senate. She has the kind of character that's going to be necessary in the presidency.
Vice President Harris is standing in the breach at a critical moment in our nation's history. We have a shared commitment as Americans to do what's right for this country. This year,
I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Former generals, secretaries of defense, secretaries of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, CIA directors, and National Security Council leaders under Democratic and Republican presidents, Republican members of Congress, and even former Trump administration officials agree there's only one candidate fit to lead our nation, and that's Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
I'm Joan Balwig, and here at the shop, we have solutions both big and small. And that's why I fought in Madison for historically large increases for our fire, police, and EMS, and made sure that our small businesses had the permits that they needed to operate. I delivered millions for ag and rural road funding and created the one-day fishing license. I brought both sides together to make sure that our kids can both read and write. And those are both really big things, but you get the idea.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
You're watching News 3 Now live at 4. Moving forward.
Welcome back. We begin with team coverage of what's set to be a historic hurricane.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joining us from UW, where some of the top tropical weather information comes from.
Ellie La Liberté with how the Wisconsin Red Cross is preparing to help. We'll start at UW. Good afternoon, Alex.
Good afternoon, Brady and Braden. In southern Wisconsin, I'm here at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies, or CIMS. And when you're in Wisconsin, you're probably, or really anywhere in the world for that matter, you're not thinking hurricane sciences in the Midwest, or the experts are in the Midwest, but they are here at CIMS. And what I have behind me here, just some of their tools. We're looking at visible satellites. So you can only see visible satellite during the daytime. So with the sunshine and the sun way away from Earth, what is happening here is we're seeing reflection off of Hurricane Milton. And take note over here, using this little green laser pointer here. These are actually supercell thunderstorms, rotating thunderstorms that we're used to here in the Midwest. You got the ambient rotation of the hurricane. You got strong winds higher up. This is a perfect environment too with the moisture. They've had nearly 20 reports of tornadoes over portions of Florida today. And we're not talking little tornadoes. We're talking big tornadoes. So even with hurricanes, the storm surge, the strong winds, you can also have tornadoes. Let's take a look at radar 3000 right now. Just like what we would do during severe weather coverage, we're here as well. We can take a peek at some of the current tornado warnings that are ongoing right now in Florida. Some of these tornadoes are considerable tornadoes, actually. This one here near the counties of Indian River, they have a tornado warning until 5:45 local time, and they are reporting a confirmed and extremely large and dangerous tornado. So the tornado activity continues across the state of Florida, at least the eastern portion of Florida. Hurricane Milton itself is off towards the west, south and west of Tampa, south and west of Sarasota. Right here is the eye that I'm going to circle here. It's still offshore. It's not expected to make landfall until a little bit later in the evening. Still thinking strong Category 2, Category 3 storm as it makes landfall somewhere between Tampa and Sarasota, or some areas just south where we're still expecting that very significant storm surge. 68 degrees right now in Madison, clear skies, courtesy of our Upland Hill Sky Cam, showing us beautiful conditions here. So it's just really difficult for me as a meteorologist to think how nice it is here, and really the unfortunate calamity that's going on in the state of Florida right here behind me. But we can relish in the nice stuff here in southern Wisconsin. Planning our evening, we'll see those temperatures going down into the 50s as we move forward through the evening. Blaze will be here for the 10 o'clock show, probably very close to the time when Milton makes landfall. Overnight low temperatures, low to mid 40s. There could be an isolated spot or two north of Madison that gets a little bit of frost. Coming up in the next main weather, we'll do a complete weather forecast for southern Wisconsin, and be sure to tune in at 5 and at 6 as we continue to talk to our hurricane experts here at CIMS downtown on the University of Wisconsin at Madison campus. Alex Harrington, News 3 Now.
Alex, thank you. Well, Alex and his friends down on campus are not the only ones tracking Hurricane Milton. The American Red Cross here in Wisconsin is also watching the storm.
Ellie La Liberté joins us now with how the organization is preparing. Ellie?
Yeah, officials with the Red Cross tell me that they've been watching Hurricane Milton since it was a tropical storm. After Hurricane Helene left devastation through the southeast just a couple of days ago, volunteers here in Wisconsin are getting ready to help out yet again. More than 60 volunteers from Wisconsin have deployed with the Red Cross. They expect to be in hard-hit regions like in North Carolina for roughly 2 weeks at a time. Those volunteers are getting supplies to those impacted by Hurricane Helene and are helping shelter those impacted by Hurricane Milton.
By going on these assignments and getting that, experience, you're bringing that back to Wisconsin and making us, more resilient when a disaster strikes here. Also, for many people, it's about giving back to your fellow man, to help, your, fellow, humanitarian mission of the Red Cross, helping to support people in their greatest time of need.
The Red Cross says there are 3 main ways that you can help out. One, by volunteering, by donating blood, or by making a financial donation. And you can find a link to donate on our website, channel3000.com. And that link we have already raised over $6,000 on, but we're still trying to keep generating those donations for those in need.
All right, thank you, Ellie. A quick look at Wall Street. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 are all up again after sliding on Monday.
Well, after a hearing this morning, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is deciding whether or not a veto by Governor Evers that extended school funding for 400 years will stand.
The Supreme Court heard arguments in the case today as they debated the limitations on the governor's partial veto power. And Merrill Hubbard brings us that story right now. Merrill?
Yeah, Brady and Braden, this all stems from an action made by Governor Evers in 2023, where he crossed off numbers to lock in school funding for the next 400 years. Wisconsin governors, both Republican and Democrat, have long used their veto power to reshape the budget. It's an act of gamesmanship between the governor and legislature. Now, there are some limitations. Governors are not allowed to strike out individual letters to create new words. In this case, though, Evers striked out numbers and punctuation to add centuries to school funding. Jeffrey A. Lemieux argues Evers has over-exercised his power, while Evers argues that the changes are in line with what has been done before.
May a governor use the partial veto power to extend a duration? The answer is no, and this court should hold that the 400-year veto is unconstitutional.
It did extend a date range by a significant amount of time. But what I'd like to spend my time this morning trying to do is convince you all that that is a natural result of this court's case law from over 100 years.
This is not the first time a governor has used a partial veto to extend a policy well into the future. In 2017, Scott Walker used the partial veto to extend a program for school spending on energy efficiency for 1,000 years. Tonight at 6, we will hear more from the Wisconsin Supreme Court. They will rule on this case in the coming months. Merrill, thank you. Right now, the president is speaking about Hurricane Milton.
We're going to listen to his remarks right now.
There are thousands of fellow Americans who are putting their lives at stake and putting on the line to do the dangerous work that needs to be done now. And it's harmful to those who most need the help. Quite frankly, these lies are un-American, and there's simply no place for them. Not now, not ever. Former President Trump has led this onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. That's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That is simply not true either. They're saying that money needed for these crises are being diverted to migrants. What the heck are they talking about? Stop it. It's outrageous. It's just not true. Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's got to stop. Let me close with this. As difficult as these days and weeks have been, we've seen incredible courage by so many of our fellow Americans. I want to thank all the first responders for running toward danger instead of away from it, for saving lives and making a difference. FEMA personnel risking their lives, climbing on hillsides to reach people who cut off by Helena. Army National Guard flying through the gale wind force that it's amazing what they're doing. Firefighters lifting collapsed wood and metal in an attempt to see if there are survivors, any survivors under the debris, risking their lives. Coast Guard teams rappelling from helicopters to rescue people and risking their own lives. There are countless friends and neighbors who have sacrificed for the greater good. Volunteers leaving their own families behind to help search for someone else's family. Fellow Americans looking out for one another. That's America at its very best. That's who we are. So my final message tonight is to the people of Florida and all the impacted states. We've got your back. We've got your back. And Kamala and I will be there for as long as it takes to rescue, recover, and rebuild. May God bless you all, and may God protect those serving in the eye of this storm on behalf of our nation. Thank you.
Again, that's President Joe Biden addressing the dire situation down in Florida, along with all of the misinformation about it going around online. We'll be right back.
When it comes to winning internet, TDS is in a league of our own. Just like the Green Bay Packers, Wisconsin born and bred, we live, work, play, hire, and get involved in the communities we serve. Like delivering the green and gold standard of internet. 100% fiber internet that's as fast, powerful, and reliable as your other hometown favorite, the Packers. TDS, internet that's built Wisconsin strong.
Many window installers lack proper training. At Next Door and Window, we're reinventing window installation. Our installers are certified and trained to ensure your windows are sealed tight and energy efficient. Visit nextwindow.com to learn more.
After careful review of medical guidance and research on pain relief, my recommendation is simple. Every home should have Salon Paws. Powerful, yet non-addictive. Targeted and long-lasting. I recommend Salon Paws. It's good medicine.
This is Good News, Madison.
Brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Overture Center's mission is to support and elevate the community's creative culture through the arts. So 2024 marks the 20th anniversary of the opening of Overture Center for the Arts, and we are celebrating all of what we call the O moments that people experience when they come to Overture.
And that is Good News, Madison, brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Quartz takes a different approach to health insurance. We know every life well lived is a journey, and we're here to light the way at every step. That's why for 40 years, we've been alongside the doctors and hospitals who know what their communities need. Because they're a part of them. Because we're a part of them. There's a fire burning in all of us. Let's ignite it together. Quartz. Find your spark.
Happy anniversary! Join us for our anniversary sale.
And help us celebrate. We're having our biggest sale of the year with savings throughout the showroom.
Where you can save big.
And you can save big.
You can save big. You can save big.
On quality home furnishings throughout the showroom.
Join us for our anniversary sale.
Wanakee Furniture ETC. Bringing quality homes since 1996.
New at 5, utility workers from across Wisconsin are heading to Florida to help restore power after Hurricane Milton goes through. See how those crews are coming together to support those in need.
Coming up at 5, I'm at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies in Madison talking to hurricane experts about Milton, and I also have your latest frost forecast.
New at 6, we explore the duties of the spouse of a high official as Glenn Walls visits Wisconsin.
Well, it is time to answer your plant questions. Lisa Briggs joins us now. There she is.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Oh, it looks so fall there. All the pumpkins looks great.
All right. Well,
it is pretty here.
Yeah, it is. Well, we have some good plant questions. So someone wants to know, when is a good time to trim W-E-I-G-E-L, Weigelia bush?
Yeah, Weigela. It's a shrub with, it's a shrub. It has those tubular flowers in the sort of midsummer. Best time to trim that is right after it flowers. So I would wait until next sort of late spring, early summer, unless you have some hazardous branches or it's hitting your car every time you drive by. You can trim it then, but you'll be removing flowers for next year. Won't hurt it though.
All right, Patty says, I've also read in a plant book that to promote more blossoms on a Christmas cactus, it's a good idea to not water it for a month. But does it matter which month, October or November?
I have never heard that. I will say that if you really want your holiday cactuses to bloom, what you need to do is put them in a room in your house where you do not have lights on at night. The flower bud production on a Christmas cactus is triggered by day length. So if you have it like in your living room and you're watching TV till midnight, it doesn't experience that day's shortening and it will not flower. So put it in a bedroom that is not occupied or something like that. That is how you will get flowers.
Oh, gets its own room out of the deal.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Maureen wants to know, how should I overwinter a gardenia tree? And she says, thank you.
Oh, gardenia trees are so tough. You're going to want to bring it in. It's going to need a cooler spot, not too hot. Careful with the watering. Let it dry slightly between watering, so don't overwater it. Not really any fertilizer during the season, although if you see it start where the leaves start to yellow, you might want to put something on it that's made for acidic plants. There are particular indoor houseplant fertilizers that are made for like azaleas or citrus. That would be fine, but especially watch the watering. Don't overwater it. And cool temps will be your best luck.
All right, we have a question about butterfly bushes. When is the best time to cut them back, spring or fall?
I would do it in the fall. You can do it in the spring, but fall, they're not especially attractive in the winter. The thing to remember about butterfly bush, though, is that they are one of the last things to emerge from the ground. So I would cut it back so that you see a stubble, you know where it is, because you might not see new plant growth emerge until after Father's Day. So don't assume right away when everything in your garden is blousy and beautiful and you don't see the butterfly bush that is gone. It's just really slow in the spring.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks so much, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be right back.
You're welcome.
Well, after a beautiful drive through the hills of southwest Wisconsin, we have arrived at Oakwood Fruit Farm. I can smell the donuts from here. This is a true fall gem. Judy, a fifth-generation fruit farm that couldn't be run more in an organized fashion. I absolutely love this place. All right, now this is truly a local gem out here in southwest Wisconsin, and now I see why. Just tell us all the fabulous things that are in this store.
We have a lot of products to offer. A lot of them we try to stay local within Wisconsin. We make our own caramel apples. We have our own bakery in-house, so we are making apple cider donuts on a daily basis.
And those are really the store's pride and joy.
Very much so. They are very popular and very delicious, and a lot of people will just come to buy donuts and maybe not even walk out with apples.
The apple cider donut. It's a truly perfect masterpiece, and it's warm. Oh.
We grow all of our apples here that are sold, and throughout the season, we have about 20 different varieties of apples. The most popular one is the Honeycrisp. Customers are looking for that as soon as we open our store.
Greg, how perfect is southwest Wisconsin and the topography really for your apple crop?
It's a great area for growing apples. Yeah, it's a very nice area to grow a family and grow apples.
Greg, a big cheers to you from Oakwood Fruit Farm.
We're buzzed into Madison.
Oh, you got it. All right.
All right.
Good work.
Excellent.
I voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. Now, for the first time in my life, I'm voting for a Democrat. And the reason for that all started on January 6th when Trump tried to overthrow the government. I don't agree with everything that the Democrats want to do, but I know they don't want to overthrow the government. And it's really that simple. I believe in my democracy. I believe in my country. And it's country over party.
Republican Accountability PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Fentanyl is one of the most lethal drugs on the market. This much can kill thousands. These deadly drugs are pouring across our border. But Biden, Harris, and Democrats have done nothing to stop it. Tammy Baldwin claims she's trying, but she's failed. She took credit for an anti-fentanyl bill she didn't write and opposed efforts to secure the border. Senator Baldwin and Democrats have done nothing, and our communities are paying the price.
I'm Eric Hovde. I approve this message.
Well, down in Florida, Milton is setting records before it's even made landfall. Take a look at this. The National Weather Service has issued 90 tornado warnings and counting in the state just today.
Yeah, it's the most warnings issued in Florida in a single day. Now let's get to Alex with some more live from Sims on the UW-Madison campus. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Brady. Hey, Braden. Yeah, the tornadoes that we had earlier today, it's been ongoing all afternoon. That is another outcome of hurricanes. Remember, a hurricane is a spinning cyclone, so you've got that rotation already there in the atmosphere with the ingredients of warm, humid air, and then higher up you have strong winds. Those are perfect environments for rotating thunderstorms, supercell thunderstorms. Again, an unprecedented day, not just with what I'm showing you here now. Let's look at Radar 3000. We can use our tools to track Hurricane Milton all the way from Wisconsin. And again, at 5, we're going to be talking more with our friends here at Sims. But what you're seeing right now is the eye of the hurricane right now is south and west of Sarasota, south and west of Tampa. I'm circling the eye. This is where you see that clearing in what we call our reflectivity, the greens and the reds and the oranges. The strongest winds, though, they occur in what's called the eye wall. So I'm going to draw the eye wall. That's right around the eyes. So the eye wall right now is just starting to edge into the far western portion of Florida near the Sarasota area. Is probably really starting to see those winds ramp up. And one last thing, too, we've been talking about storm surge, and the storm surge usually piles up near the eye and to the right and north and east of the eye. So I'm going to circle where the potential for the greatest storm surge is, and that would include the Sarasota area down towards Venice right now. That's where we've got those winds really piling in off of the ocean. Right now for Tampa, not to say that they can't have a storm surge, but the winds are coming more in from the north and from the east. So those are winds coming in from the land, pushing the water back out into the ocean. But that's not to say that storm surge cannot occur in Tampa as well. But just want to talk a little bit more about hurricane science and how we can use our tools here as well. Still a strong Category 3 hurricane with sustained winds at 120, gusts up to 150 miles per hour. But the storm surge is going to mimic that of a stronger hurricane because that water that piles up in the center of the storm takes a longer time to distribute back out into the ocean. So a formidable landfall with a strong storm surge, very likely with Milton. This evening, nothing like that here in southern Wisconsin. Our weather is quiet, cannot be beat. Temperature 60s falling down to right around 50 when you join our newscast at 10. We'll have another interview throughout the course of this evening that will air at 10 o'clock from Sims as well. Mid-40s for lows tonight, a little patchy frost possibility north of Madison. Not expecting widespread frost. Really warm temperatures on Thursday. I keep saying this isn't a misprint from August type weather. No, it's October weather. It just happens to be really above normal. But we have changes. Once we get to Sunday, a cold front's going to come through. Temperatures falling throughout the day, some shower activity. So if you want the sweaters and the pumpkin spice coffee and candles, that's the day for you on Sunday. And you can keep those out for a few days early next week. Feeling like fall, feeling like where we should be for this time of year through the early to mid portion of next week with a good chance of frost. Live here downtown at Sims. More to come during our 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts from downtown, talking to our hurricane experts. I'm Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington, News 3 Now. We'll be right back.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
My name is Bill. I am retired. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I live here in Wisconsin. I am not a political person, but Eric Hovde doesn't understand how important Social Security and Medicare are around here. I'm on Social Security, and Hovde said he absolutely supported cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Imagine working longer, paying into the system, and then poof, you're paying your bills with less. He knows it. Cutting Social Security and Medicare will cost us. He just doesn't care.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this message.
Joan Baldwin wants to ban abortion, even in cases of rape, incest, and when the mother's life is at risk.
And would jail doctors who perform them.
Baldwin voted to ban birth control, too, and to deny rape victims emergency contraception.
Banning all abortions and birth control? No one wants to tell you what to do with your body more than Joan Ballweg.
But she can't tell you what to do with your vote.
Sometimes the smallest cracks can cause the biggest chills. This fall, watch out for The Draft.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Career politicians like Peter Barca will say anything to get elected. His latest negative ad against Brian Style, it's been called blatantly false. The truth, Style has always supported IVF. He co-sponsored a resolution supporting IVF. And Style backs legislation to help families afford IVF. Peter Barca can sling mud, but we deserve better than just another lying career politician.
I'm Brian Style, and I approve this message.
We'll take a look at this. A final matchup between bitter rivals has been a fitting end to a Fat Bear Week in 2024's Alaska's Katmai National Park. Grazer goes back-to-back as the repeat champion, besting a bear named Chunk in the final round, more than doubling up her competitor's vote total.
And she was barely trying.
Oh my God. This is awesome. I would love to see this in person. I would love to go up to Alaska.
I'm fine just watching it on TV.
Okay, well, agree to disagree.
We'll be right back.
Building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Compare that to Trump. He fights for himself and his billionaire friends. He intends to enact a national sales tax, the Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle class families by $4,000 a year. Instead of a tax hike, we will pass a middle class tax cut that will benefit more than 100 million Americans.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Prices are up, wages are down, inflation is crushing Wisconsin families. Yet Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Even more radical, Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. Tax hikes and higher prices for families and those living on fixed incomes. That's Kieski's record. Expensive and extreme. Reject Sarah Kieski and her radical agenda.
With high inflation, working families like mine are hurting, and Kamala Harris helped create this mess. Now, while Americans struggle, Kamala spent our tax dollars putting illegal immigrants up in hotel rooms, and she supported spending our tax dollars to give illegals sex changes. It's not just liberal, it's insane. Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you're about to replace your roof, stop. There's a solution about 80% less expensive. 9 out of 10 roofs can be saved by RoofMax. Guaranteed to extend the life of your current roof by 5 to 15 years at a fraction of the cost of a new roof.